everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dishes and Dimes. My name is Imman, and I am joined by Sandie. Sandie, what is up for the millionth time? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, this is literally the millionth time we've attempted to record this podcast. I don't know if the universe has something against these topics that we want to talk about, but it just has not been going well. Audio's been crap, video's been crap, everything's been crap. So we're gonna give it a final go. If this doesn't work out, I'm done with this topic as a whole. I'm not even doing it anymore. Yeah, I'm over it.
Honestly, guys, we're not lying when we say this. We've recorded every week. we recorded multiple times a week sometimes. We've had multiple recordings, and each time there's been an issue. And thankfully we didn't have a guest recording for this because we wanted to tackle some serious topics because serious things have been happening in the NBA. So we're yeah, it might be the universe being like, hey guys, don't talk about this. Cut it out. But yeah,
and we're not listening. So.
No. But in all honesty, it feels kind of dated to be like, hey, so the Indiana Pacers and the Utah Jazz got fined by the NBA. That was last year's news at this point.
Yeah,
so I do think we're gonna have those conversations again. We want to, of course, talk about tanking and some solutions because, you know what, Sandie, I think you had some great ideas, and I think it's important that we bring stuff like that up. Might it be more relevant in April than on, March 4th when we're recording this? Maybe. So we'll double back. We'll bring that up because I think those are important conversations. Of course, the conversation of Israel and the NBA, of everything that happened over All-Star Weekend, are conversations that we want to continue to have. So we'll talk about that some too. The other thing that we talked about, and we'll bring it up, is, hey, where have we been? What has Dishes been doing? And what is Dishes and Dimes plans moving into the new year with the tempo season and moving forward with NBA season? So we will talk about that today. We'll rehash some of the stuff. We want to keep today's episode nice and short. But someone who was like, hey guys, talk about some serious topics, is Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet of the San Antonio Spurs felt moved enough to write a blog post about the Atlanta Hawks having a Magic City night coming up on March 16th. Sandie, you sighed, so I'm gonna shut up and let you lead. What are your thoughts on that entire situation?
Here's the thing, okay? So these players don't seem to take a stand when, a basketball player is beating their partner within an inch of their life. Don't have anything to say when they find out a superstar is investing in drones and laughing at it. But making some reference to, fine-ass women with fat asses dancing is a problem for the NBA. The NBA
That'd be the title. Sorry to cut you
gambling.
off. I'm just thinking of the title. Fine-ass women with fat asses.
Fine-ass women with
Dishes and Dimes. Asses. How many clicks do we get on that one?
I don't have the fat ass. I might have to leave that to you. I don't got it. I didn't get the Ghanaian genetics. But my whole thing is NBA's in bed with gambling companies to the point where they're changing their product to adhere to what these gambling companies need. You have multiple players who've been accused of rape and domestic abuse still playing in the league. KD invests in drones and was laughing at it in some kind of DM, and nobody came out with a statement. That's perfectly fine, but making some kind of reference, acknowledging of any kind to strippers is where you draw the line. That's red line, right? I don't understand. If you're going to stand for something, let it stand for something, right? Because I know these NBA players go to strip clubs. I know they like to see ass shake. But the problem is that the NBA might make a reference to it. It's not like the strippers are going to be at the game. Now, if you told me there was going to be strippers at the game, maybe people would...
if they're fully clothed.
But my whole thing is like, maybe people would actually go to the games because it's the Hawks. Nobody's actually going to the games anyway. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Maybe if you brought some fat ass to the game, people would actually buy some tickets. How about that? How about you guys try that?
Okay.
Entertain the people for once. I don't know. Like, whatever. This is stupid.
Here's the
This
thing.
is stupid.
I agree that it's kind of stupid, and I think that you're making valid points. I mean, it's one that I think it's valid to say, hey, this is where you draw the line. And I'm seeing a lot of pushback from people calling it a logical fallacy, calling it whataboutism. When people bring up whataboutism, it's a tactic used to discredit what people are talking about. Like, oh, hey, you care about a genocide over here. What about what's happening over there? As though it sort of deflects from something, right? I don't think asking Luke Kornet why this is what moved you is deflecting from anything else. Like, I think the NBA has shown that it's in bed with a lot of different vices. You sell alcohol at games, you gamble.
Yep.
I mean, it's so tied into the gambling industry. And these are destructive things. When we talk about gambling, we're talking about people losing, like, their families, losing all of their finances, right? Like, we're talking about things that can really cripple people and cripple families with alcoholism, with gambling, with other vices. But this is where you draw the line. And to me, to frame it as though you're doing that for the benefit of women, I have some questions about that. I don't know that I believe that. Why is that where you draw the line? To your point, Sandie, there's no issue with the abusers in the NBA. I mean, just recently, the All-Star game happened. I know we're still talking about it, but guys, we haven't had a podcast since, and we keep trying to talk about it. And the judges were Dwight Howard and Corey Maggette, two guys that have had rape allegations against them.
There we go.
Right? Like, we're talking about, like, the Epstein files are all over. You think that they're not NBA owners? Cough, Josh Harris, cough. Like, there's just, why is this where we draw the line? The idea that it's for the benefit of women, I take pause to that. And part of that is I did grow up in an era where we talked about hip-hop and women and misogyny and all this other stuff. And I'm like, feels like there's something else placed there in the commentary that no one wants to touch on. Feels like David Stern a little bit with the dress code, quote-unquote, being unprofessional that no one wants to touch on. I think, to me, Magic City doesn't move me as, like, this thing that's like, oh my gosh, so bad. Because I don't know that I come to the same conclusion as Luke Kornet when it comes to stripping or women in dance clubs. Like, I think that, like, if I'm all for women empowerment, why would I stop at women choosing to dance for money? Like, and also,
they're making money. It's their income, the way they make their income. Yeah. Like, I don't even take it as an empowering thing. It's there is a market to see women shake ass. And
that's a bigger issue. We can talk about that. Societally, we can talk about that. I think that's a bigger thing. And also, like, I'm a kid from Canada. I'm an old lady from Canada at this point. But, like, I know what Magic City is because I do think it's that ingrained in Atlanta culture. It's that ingrained in hip-hop culture. It's that ingrained in the music that I was listening to, which is why Jermaine Dupri is producing this documentary. It's, I think, it's the 40th anniversary, right? They're celebrating an integral part of Atlanta hip-hop culture. Yeah. And so, to me, it's just like, well, now that we start having an issue with that, because, like, we don't have an issue with gambling. Like, I understand that it sounds like I'm doing a logical fallacy, but it's like, no, what specifically is your issue with this tied in with women? Because if you have a real issue with the way that the NBA treats women, I think that there are other things we can point to. Mm-hmm. And is it women's ability to dress how they want? Like, I just have such issues with these conversations when we talk about women taking agency of their body to profit in the way that they want. Whether that's, like, Cardi, for example, whether that's stripping like she used to, and she's talking about the sexual exploitation. And I don't think, like, I don't want to sound like I'm down talking or, like, disparaging the actual harm that a lot of women in adult
That's sex work.
industries
Yeah.
go through, because
Yeah.
that's serious. And I think that there are real conversations to be had there. But I don't think you're necessarily having it when you're just like, hey, Magic City's a no go, but I'm gonna stay quiet about Corey Maggette and Dwight Howard judging the dunk contest. And also, like, I think that there's actual things to talk about when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks hosting this night. Namely, that T.I. is gonna be the performer there. T.I. is someone who has had multiple allegations against him. I have to preface all of this by saying they've been
Alleged, alleged,
dismissed and
alleged.
all things have happened, and
Yes.
part of that um is because the statute of limitations, which whole
Yes.
other issue that we need to be talking about if we're gonna be right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with that. Like, oh, it's been too long. But like, I think that that could be a real question where, hey, yeah, Ti obviously an integral part of Atlanta culture, obviously, like, understand why he was one of the people chosen, but if we're talking about the safety of women, yeah, I can
And
understand why you would come out against that more than just
and my whole thing too is that like, why do we put the onus on the women rather than the men who go to these strip clubs? They're the market. If they didn't exist, if they didn't fill this market, like these strippers wouldn't exist in the first place, right? But it's like, oh, we're gonna pretend that these women like don't exist in order to protect women. If
yeah.
we're gonna have that conversation, like that's not the way to go about it. You have to, one, acknowledge that they exist. One, two, acknowledge that they are a part of the culture, and why are they a part of the culture? That's an
Is
interesting
the culture
conversation
that
to
we have,
have.
yeah.
Exactly. And then it's like, three, as a white man, it feels kind of weird for you to be like, well, yeah, like I'm like against, because
It feels very
Magic City
paternalistic.
is,
It feels very
yeah, it
paternalistic.
feels very like
It
I know better about, like this isn't worthy of being part of your culture. And it's like,
and
you don't
a
have a
lot
right
of
to
people's
say
vices
that.
are. And I think, like, I don't know, I don't love the idea of him coming in and policing that. The Atlanta Hawks did not back down. They're continuing to do the event. I do think
Like,
that there are serious conversations to be had about the type of performers that you have. I think the NBA needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves how they're protecting women in this sport. These are
right.
conversations that we've had regularly, and they're
Yeah.
conversations that extend over to the WNBA and those CBA negotiations, which we need to have on this podcast, because issues with the way that the NBA,
Yeah.
with the MNBA treats women. I just don't know that. Like, to me, if this is the straw, if this is your line, I have some questions.
If we're going to have a conversation about how uh, Magic City is not a good reflection on women, and that you want to protect women, I think you also have to have a conversation about the men that are part of that equation and make that industry what it is. It wouldn't exist. The exploitation wouldn't exist if men weren't using these women to their advantage, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like for me, and I don't have a problem with a woman who looks good saying, I'm going to use my body to make money. I'm sorry. Like, as a woman, you got to use what you got to make money. But
Eh.
I think if we're going to have a conversation about it, we also have to have a conversation about the exploitation. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
And, um, and I don't think this is the way to go about having that conversation. So,
I mean, I want to continue us having these conversations. I know you do as well. Like, we've discussed a lot of things at length, like we talked about at the top of the show. But let's pivot a little bit to where we've been. Because this has been on a bit of a hiatus. Obviously, the
a little
last
break.
big episode we did before our break was the gambling episode with Tim Donaghy. And we want to continue that conversation because, oh my gosh, when we had it, we asked some questions about, like, hey, gambling's about to be legalized. Oh, do you think we're going to get more of this? Little did we know that we'd be getting so much of it. I mean, I think we did know that.
Yeah.
I think that that was sort of the thing that we were like, hey, we need to come out with more episodes because it's going to break. Because of the idea to me at the time that it was just one ref, didn't quite make sense to me. I want to explore that a little bit more because I think David Stern did his darndest to make sure it seemed like it was just one ref. And as we've seen now, I mean, it's much bigger than just one player. We've had
Yeah.
multiple players. It feels like this is just the tip of the iceberg. And this is just going to continue to grow and get worse. And it was something that we, predicted before. So that is a conversation that we want to continue to have. But hey, we couldn't continue those at the time because we were both going through some things. Sandie, where have you been?
Well,
The sun is beating my butt right now. Sorry.
don't complain, because it's
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
end up
I know.
snowing
I
like
know.
next
I
week.
know. I love it.
I love it. I had a baby,
A
and as you
cutie
know,
patootie.
she's a cutie patootie. She's full of life and attitude, and
It's like your mama.
unfortunately, kind of like her mama, which is great in theory, but not so great when you're trying to discipline a toddler. She's been great. Great addition to my life, but it's obviously made doing other things difficult. It's hard to get through a basketball game when, again, toddler running around, and yeah, but it's been great. Motherhood has been great for me. There's nothing like motherhood to make you realize a lot of things about yourself, and so like a lot of your triggers, a lot of the things that you're dealing with, that you thought you've already kind of like worked through. You have a kid, and all of a sudden, is exasperated. And I think many of the listeners probably know I've dealt with mental health issues. So it's been kind of like interesting coming back to dishes because it's something kind of trivial that I can get back to. It's a little bit grounding in a way. I'm grateful for it because the mental health issues got a little serious, but I'm happy to still be here, happy to be able to come back to this. And I guess where we're going, I guess we'll talk about that once you share your side of it. But I say all of that to say that I don't know, like I'm just grateful to be able to still talk about basketball because for a minute there, I might have not been here, to be honest. Things came to a head last November. I ended up hospitalized. A slew of mental health issues. I'm on a lot of drugs, so I'm a lot happier. But yeah, I'm grateful to be able to come back to dishes and create a space where we can talk about the thing that we love. And yeah, I'm grateful for whoever it is that's still out there listening. You mean a lot more than you realize. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been. How about you, Iman?
I mean, we're very happy. I think I speak for everyone when I say we're very happy to still have you here and have your new addition here as well. Um, and yeah, I feel like you seem happier, and I'm very like I'm trying to find the words. You seem happier, and I'm happy for
It's the
you.
drugs. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm happy for whatever it is. I'm happy for you. It's looking good
I
on you.
appreciate it, Iman.
It's
No,
looking good on
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you. I think it's the
Nice.
sun kind of glaring.
I can't control that, but you know what? Can't get mad at it either. Um, so um, it's been like, it's been a rough, but also like happy last few years, right? Like 2023 being the last time that we really sat down for dishes and dimes yeah, it's been a lot since 2023. I entered the 30s, the dreaded 30s in
Ugh.
2023. I'm an adult now. I was a 29-year-old child, and then all of a sudden it's like wrinkles everywhere, and you're old.
Reality.
It's like,
Yep.
oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
um. So yeah. So in 2023, I feel like I've been fairly open with a lot of this stuff on Twitter specifically. So if you followed me there, you've probably, I use Twitter as a diary, which is not, the healthiest, but yeah. Uh, so I lost my father in 2023, and that was really tough for me. He'd been sick for a while. Um, and I yeah, I had lost him in 2023 and needed a little bit of a break from things. So 2023 was a particularly difficult year. And then I had wanted in 2024 to swing back in the thick of things. I wanted to come back swinging, and I felt like I couldn't. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm gonna be honest, like there was a point in both 2024 and 2025, I would say like maybe halfway through 2024 is when I wanted to get back in the swing of things. Like maybe when the NBA season started, which is like what, October, November. Like maybe it was towards the end where I was like, yeah, I'm getting back in. I'm doing this, and I was hosting another podcast weekly. But so sorry to the people over there. I was, not the greatest employee, and I kept saying like, hey, I'm going through some things, and I didn't understand quite what it was, but I felt like I I felt like at one point I was like, hey, my iron pills, because I'm anemic as hell. I was like, these are poisoning me. Like I was like tossing them out. Like I taped up my laptop because I was like, the bright lights are blinding me and it's making my brain not work. Like I was so sure that I was like, something is like, I don't know. My brain capacity is just not here. I even recorded this thing for like a documentary, and they were asking me questions, and I was like, I sound like the stupidest person in the world because my brain is just not operating. Um,
Yeah.
and I had fallen into a depression, which happens when you lose a parent. And so I was like, is it that? And I had like gained a lot of weight, and I was like really sad, and I was really depressed, and I was really in a funk. And I didn't understand like I was just like, there's something, and I didn't know what it was for the longest time. And I went to a doctor, and they did blood work, and they were like, you're anemic. And I was like, bet. Started taking more iron pills, started taking B12, and I was like, that's it. And I was like, could I have had long COVID? I was like, what? Like, I was so
Yeah.
confused at what it was. And I feel like a lot of people were like, hey, long COVID, it's going around and it's everywhere. But I was like, my doctor, I don't know. But basically, long story short, or long story long, I was diagnosed with MS. And that's what it had been this entire time. And so, hey, if you're feeling, and I sort of wanted to get into like how I was feeling for a while, just to explain to people, like if you're feeling like something is wrong with you, something is probably wrong. Like if you
Yeah.
are having a health issue, don't just chalk it up to things. And for the longest time, a lot of my symptoms were similar to the symptoms that I have with like anemia, as someone who is East
Yeah.
African, so I'm anemic as hell. You like, a lot of the symptoms were fairly similar, but I was like, this feels elevated. They're like, I don't feel great. And I was fortunate enough, they were like, 31-year-old who has these feelings, let's get her an MRI right away, because hey, if you're young enough and they still think you have value to the workforce, they will speed up your MRIs. Like I remember being like, I have an MRI soon. I was like, no, girl, that takes months. That takes years.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I was like within like 5 days, and I was like, no, it happened really quick. And it was like 31-year-old healthy person. They're like, we're speeding this up.
Let's get it going.
Let's get going. And then I was diagnosed with MS, and it was so great to have finally like a diagnosis that explained what I was feeling, because for so long I'm like, no,
Right.
guys, there's something wrong with me. I can't explain it, because I had writing opportunities, I had like podcasting opportunities, I was doing basketball stuff, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to read an entire article. I'm like, I don't have the facilities for that anymore. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Reading is beyond me. That was a 20-something-year-old's game, not a 30-year-old's game. Like I did not have the facilities for that. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I got diagnosed, and it felt really good to be diagnosed, and then it takes a couple of months, and then you get on medication, and here I am on medication, feeling much better, and hoping to pick things back up.
Right.
I recognize that like I'm not going to be as maybe as on it as I had been, but
Yeah.
I have the ability to do this, and I'm thankful and I'm blessed, and I thank God for the opportunity to continue to like do this stuff because I was so out of it for so long, and I thought, is it because I'm depressed? Like, girl, get out of it. Like, I was just like, snap out of it, get back to work, and it was that, and yeah, I want to use this opportunity to share this. We've recorded this so many times that I'm like, what did I say last time versus this time? Like I'm trying to remember. And one thing that I really did want to push last time, and so this time, is Canada has the highest rates of MS diagnoses. And so it's important to, even though there's not a direct like cause that's known, it's important to make sure to take your vitamin D pills. We don't get enough sunlight. Even if the sun is blaring on me and it seems like Canada has a lot of sun, we don't. It's a lie. Um, and there's no amount of sunlight, my doctor said, that you can get if you have winter for X amount of like 6, 7, 8 months out of the year. He was like, you
Yeah.
can go butt naked in on Woodbine Beach and you're still not getting enough sunlight. Your body just is not going to process enough living here, especially if you're melanated, because hey, we evolved to get African sun, not Canadian sun, not 8 months of winter, and so we're not processing enough vitamin D. And so everyone take some vitamin D, even if you're not melanated. Take your vitamin D,
Yeah.
because we're just not getting enough here. And even though that's not the direct cause, and I'm not your doctor, I'm just gonna tell you what my doctor passed on to me. So yeah, so that's something that I want to push toward to people, and get checked, take your health seriously, because um, you never know when you're healthy one minute and then you're not. And yeah,
Yeah.
so just wanted to share that with everybody because that was my journey and it was a hell of a ride. But we're here now and we're medicated and feeling better. Both of us. Look at us. Medicated queens.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. Um,
But it's also
I
great
wonder
because
what
like I
was.
realized I stopped arguing with people on Twitter. Like I just don't have the bandwidth for that
Yeah.
anymore. Like sometimes I will. You can tell I just got an infusion if I'm like fighting with people on the
Yeah.
timeline. You're like, that girl just
Yeah.
got medicated today.
A little
Like
boost.
that's fresh. like, like she's feeling good right
Oh
now. But
man.
like for the most part, I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I arguing with you? What good does that do? This sun is killing me. I'm talking about Canada not having enough sun, and it's like, that's why we record at night. Um, but no, it's yeah. I've grown. I've matured.
I don't know. Like I'm glad that you got the diagnosis. I'm glad that
Yep.
you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Um, I wonder what that process was like coming to terms with having MS and being young. Like 31 with MS seems kind of like, wow, like how did this happen? Um,
What
sorry.
made you feel?
You saying we need sun and then the sun just like beaming down on you is really hilarious.
You need sun?
You need sun? Are you sure?
Like throughout the year, not just all today.
Not all at once. Um, yeah, no, it's. I'm really glad that you pushed to like advocated for yourself because I can imagine that was kind of hard to do. Like when they're telling you, hey, it's just your iron levels are low, and it's actually no, I have MS. Like, fighting and advocating for yourself is important, and I think that's something that everybody who's listening, especially if you're Black, should hear. Advocate for yourself. If you're not feeling good, if whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whatever the case may be, like make sure that they hear you because had she not, who knows if she would have gotten that diagnosis, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I completely forgot this story. But like the reason why, like I think that it would have continued to be, hey, I'm just anemic. Just take your B12, take your iron pills, keep on pushing. But so I lost vision in my right eye, and that was a thing that, like, obviously once you get there, there's clearly something wrong. That is at that
Yeah.
point not anemia. or anything like that. And so it was because I lost vision in my eye. And it was a whole bunch of steps. Like I went to an eye doctor, I went to my family doctor, then I went to an eye doctor, then I went to the
Oh my
hospital, and
goodness.
it was fairly quick. Like all of this happened within days because I'm very thankful. It was rushed. Doug Ford is trying his darndest to screw our healthcare system, but you know what? It still exists, and I am grateful. So I in a like the diagnosis from the time that I had lost vision and went to the doctor to the time that I got my diagnosis was fairly fast. Um, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't think I would have gotten a diagnosis had I not lost my vision in my right eye.
Yeah.
It's back. She's back. She works. But hey, if I overheat, she'll go away again. Yeah, it's a thing where take care of yourself. That is a very common way that a lot of people get diagnosed is with some form of optic neuritis. I was able to see shapes and colors, kind of like I would be able to make out that like you're sitting in front of me, but I'd just see a blob and like maybe a bit of pink, but like not
Wow.
actually like with this eye I'd be able to see like it was like it was even for a while before I started my medication where I would go like walking
Yeah.
because I had to lose weight. I was in a depressive bug, right? So I'd start to like walk every day. I was living in the beaches at the time. I had like my whole routine, and it was really funny. It was scary. Well, it's funny now looking back, but there's a lot. It's a very hilly area, and I would be like walking up a hill, and I'd have to like do this to cross the street because I couldn't tell if it was a walking person sign or if it was like a hand up sign. Like my
Oh my
right eye would
gosh.
not be able to tell which was which because it's just a little bit too
Oh my
small to make
gosh.
out. So I'd have to like close my right eye and just go through my left and be like, all right, I can walk. So yeah, and like that was just like a regular routine to me. So I'd get to like
That is
the light and I'd just be like,
insane.
all right, I could go. Um, but now I'm fine, and thankfully with medication, it is very helpful, and yeah, so it was a scary time, and I will say, like to your point, 31, I was diagnosed on my birthday too, guys, which happy
No
birthday to me.
way.
Happy birthday to me. Yeah, it was a date like it was technically the day before my 32nd birthday. I was like,
Oh my god.
thanks.
Like
My
thanks.
33rd birthday is coming up. What's gonna happen now? Um, it's
Crossing
almost been
fingers. It's
it's
just
almost
like
been a year since
good
my
news.
diagnosis. That means we're just a couple weeks away.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, so I I had gotten diagnosed then. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, 31 is actually, I think I read, is like the average age that people get diagnosed with
Oh.
MS.
Okay.
It is a young
Okay.
person's disease. I will say that. Like
Okay.
even when I first got diagnosed, they had this like it was just like this group meeting at the hospital where they walk us through, and it's just with all of the most recent people who were diagnosed, right? And
Yeah.
walking in that room, like I saw people that I was a decade older than, right? As like a
Oh
32-year
wow.
old walking in that room being like, that's a
Oh my
child to
gosh.
me, meaning they're at least 10 years younger than me.
Right.
And
Right.
so yeah, and it is a young person's disease. There are a lot of 18, 19, 20-year olds who get diagnosed with this. um, and then tends to be that if you're an older person who has gotten diagnosed with MS, you've maybe had it for a while. Like I think my doctors presume that I've maybe had it since I was about 25, 26, but then the symptoms really started to rear their ugly head once I turned 30, 29, like once I
30.
started to get into that slump. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so I mean, I'm grateful. I didn't mean to like bring the mood of this podcast down, but I do want to pivot to like, okay, we've had these issues, and we've also had
Mhm.
great things happen. I got married. You had a
Mhm.
baby. We're growing up. Dishes and
Mhm.
dams growing up. So we've had good things happen. We obviously have had struggles over this time as well. But you know what? We're moving forward. So I want to sort of throw to you because we've been talking a little bit about like where we want dishes to go and the type of stuff that we want dishes and times to do. Um, but I'd like to throw it to you first. What do you have to say to everybody about that?
I mean, for us, I think this pod has always been its strongest when we are discussing societal issues and cultural influence of basketball. And I think we're not going to be that podcast that gives you like a rundown of like the game. It's
Yeah,
just there's a
did you know
million
that
of
the
them.
Raptors played the Knicks yesterday?
And lost?
Fun.
Ugh.
You
Like,
know.
we don't need to do that. If you guys want that, Will Lou exists, right? Like, he's great at his job. Like, come on, friend of the pod, go to Will, go listen to the many ways that the Raptors managed to mess up that game. It's
Not
you can
scoring in
get
the
that
final
somewhere else.
four,
Not
in the
scoring is
final 4 minutes of the game might have played a part.
yeah. So like we're here to kind of talk about things on a grander scale. Basketball, sports in general, has a way of impacting society and being impacted by society, and is a mirror, a reflection of where society is as a whole, and especially because it's a predominantly black league. When these things happen, whatever that thing happens to be, I think it's exasperated specifically in the NBA. And so I think it's more interesting for us to talk about those things, right? We are a femme-led podcast, and so we do come from a feminist and womanist, being black, perspective, and I think that's really important for us. And we really do want this pod to focus on narratives and conversations and things maybe that you might have wanted the journalist that's in front of the basketball player to talk about or ask, but they can't because journalism has become PR, or has always been PR for these players. So that's kind of the perspective that we want to bring. We want to bring kind of a new perspective to the Raptors and to the NBA as a whole. And that's and the tempo. We're gonna be really tempo focused because, girl, I'm so excited to have a WNBA team, and especially because we get to start from like the very beginning. So we're gonna know all the lore. So I'm excited for that, and that's kind of where we want to move the pod.
And we also, like, I think Sandra said the point, which is Dishes and Dimes always started as, hey, there are so many people talking about the game. The Raptors did just lose to the Knicks. I don't know how many times I need to hear that story of the Raptors lost to the Knicks. And the NBA, I think this was Yasmin who said it, and I always really agreed with it, and it's how I always felt, and I think she said it so beautifully, as she's wont to do. Where she said, like, the NBA is like my favorite soap opera. These are my favorite characters. And sometimes they do messy shit. And I want us to continue to have those conversations because I feel like they matter as much to forming the grand story that is the NBA. And part of that is the basketball on the court. Like, I don't think we're saying that, like, we're never going to talk about the basketball on the court. The playoffs are going to come. I want to understand matchups. I want to understand the greater story there. But also, when a player is exposed in the DMs, I think that that's an important conversation for us to have. Like, I think that there's more to the NBA than just the on-the-court product. I think that that's an important part, and we're not saying that we're, like, completely divorced from that, but there are stories outside that I think deserve a platform, and I'm really interested in those stories, and I'm really interested in the personalities and how the NBA is made, and, like, I think that that's where I'd like to share my voice because, the Raptors lost to the Knicks. I don't know how many times I can go over that game. Like, I don't score in the final 4 minutes, guys. Like, I don't.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Like, no. Of course, the on-court stuff matters, but we are always interested in the stuff that happens alongside that deserves a part of the story because it does shape this league, and we care about this league as a whole, and we think that those stories also matter, if that makes sense. And not just about the NBA, but the WNBA as well. We want to share a focus with the WNBA, especially starting with the tempo season.
And finally, I just want to say that I love you guys for sticking with us and coming on this ride with us. It's been it's almost 6 years now since we started this shit. 2020.
2020 to 2026, my God.
Wow. And you guys have been consistent with supporting us, listening to us. Oh God, the things that have happened
we were since such then babies.
It's funny because I look back on the journey. I'm like, there's so many things I wish had played out differently, but I do think it's all those things kind of led to where we're at now, and we have a clear vision of what we want to be and what we want this pod to be. I don't even care if nobody listens to this. Being able to kind of put a voice out there into the abyss and potentially have somebody listen and care means so much to us, especially at this stage in our lives. I could speak for myself, like with the mental health issues I've had.
Honestly.
And even within this last year and everything that's kind of happened, like I'm really grateful to be in a space where I could talk about really trivial things like a ball going in a hoop, and really not trivial things like you're a superstar player. I'm getting exposed in the DMs for laughing about drones. So it's just like, I'm just really grateful. And I just really want you guys to know that. And if you're still listening, we love you. So.
Way of staying young is trying to do the young person heart thing.
I
This is
can't
what the
do
kids
that,
do.
girl.
This is what the kids do.
This.
My kid now, is it this? What's this?
I don't even know. I don't even know how to.
This.
What is that? What is
This is a
that?
heart.
What is this?
This is a lot. I see people do that. I'm like, it's just much easier to do this. You guys know that? Like my old man just like walks in and is like, hey kids, I'm gonna teach you an easier way. It's so much
Millennial
easier than this.
heart, guys.
This is a lot. But
Millennial hearts. We love y'all, and
y'all.
hopefully you stick. We're gonna try to get the production stuff up. We're gonna be on TikTok, so follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter again, because I saw some of y'all unfollowing us. Get back on the Twitters and the TikToks and the Instagrams. We're gonna be a lot more consistent.
Because there's a lot of y'all on Blue Sky.
I don't really use Blue Sky, but follow Imman on Blue Sky. Again, follow
Brady
Dishes
tweets
on.
all there.
Follow us on TikTok, because we're trying to get our content out there. Yeah, come along for the ride with us.
Yeah, we love and appreciate you guys, and yeah. We're so good at closing a podcast. Clearly, we've got tons of practice at this. It might be a little bit of a mess, but I'm Imman, she's Sandra, and we're out.
Cheers. Why did I say cheers?
Why not?
What? Bye, guys.
Bye.